Deputy Public Defender Philip Dube. And Philip, there's a lot going on here, and I want to get your impressions because there was a shooting prior to the tape that everyone is familiar with. I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure most of our viewers have seen it. And there was an incident with Rosenbaum. And of course, you heard the defense attorney there saying that there were some threats made. He also goes on to say that he was actually after Kyle's gun, and that's when the shooting took place. There was also a gunshot in the background that might have added to the environment. So it's really about the totality of the night, not just about that one video we've all pretty much seen.
Yes, I agree. I think the issue for this kid is going to be why he went there with the gun, right? I mean, obviously, the prosecution's theory is going to be he went there to massacre people during that unrest. If you recall, there was a shooting of an unarmed, I think he was unarmed, it was Jacob Blake, a black man that caused the entire Kenosha unrest. And in going to the scene, I think he thought he was going there to help protect property. So he didn't really go there with the intent to harm or to injure or to kill. However, during this unrest, he perceived people coming after him and certainly reaching for the gun. The gun put him at risk of great bodily injury or death. And this jury is going to have to decide if it was reasonable under the circumstances for him to have the upper hand first. He was quicker on the draw to protect himself. Because let's face it, what would have happened if this guy would have gotten the gun away from him? If he would have gotten the gun away from him, maybe he would have shot at Kyle. And you have to put yourself in the mind of this kid. He probably really thought at that time his life was in danger. Now, I could see the prosecution also asking for a lesser or perhaps the defense of manslaughter, where I believe in Wisconsin, if somebody acts with an honest but unreasonable belief in the need to use self-defense, the jury can return a verdict for voluntary manslaughter, which is a defense victory because it does not carry life in prison.
Yeah, no question about it. And you know, that's scene number one. So they'll be judging that one. They'll have to ferret out all the different information they'll get about that confrontation with Rosenbaum. Now let's move on to the one that we're more familiar with, the one that happens in the middle of the street. And I want to go through that quickly with you. Here's the context. My understanding is, and from watching the video, is that folks are screaming that, you know, stop that guy. He's running down the street. They're saying, stop that guy. He shot somebody. That's when Anthony Huber comes into the scene, seems to hit him, or he has a skateboard, and he's certainly using it as a weapon, swinging it at him. Let's talk about that shooting. Do you think there, under those circumstances, with everything else I just mentioned going on around them, do you think there's a clear case for self-defense there? Now, again, this is not a deadly weapon. It's a skateboard.
Oh, let me tell you something, Michael. Out here in Los Angeles, we get a lot of cases brought into the courthouse where I'm at, the airport courthouse, where you have people whacking each other with skateboards on the Venice boardwalk. Let me just tell you, not only does it hurt, but it can kill you. It can break your orbital bones. It can break your jaw. I cannot tell you how many cases I've had that resulted in victims being hospitalized due to broken bones and facial injuries from people cold cocking other people on the boardwalk with a skateboard. It's very common and it is very dangerous. If somebody is coming at you with a hard piece of wood, aiming it at your head, that is a deadly weapon, especially if you have nothing to defend yourself with. What are you supposed to do? Run or duck? They'll keep swinging it at you. The goal at that point is to try to disable or to harm you. Plus, you've got a mob scene going on. You have a huge mob with somebody coming at you with a skateboard. I got to tell you, I think worst case scenario for this kid is an imperfect self-defense where he had an honest but unreasonable belief in the need to use self-defense.
Interesting. Let's move on to the next confrontation. Gage Grosskreutz. This guy has a gun. A little bit of different. Yeah, actually, based on what you just said, it's almost the same set of circumstances. Because I could almost call you as a as an expert witness for the defense, talking about those skateboards. But again, a deadly weapon, clearly in his hand, a gun in the video. How does that affect things?
Well, that changes it from an imperfect to what we call a perfect self-defense. That's exactly what it is. It's a justifiable homicide. You know, the most sacrosanct thing that we have in this world is our life. And the law, particularly in Wisconsin, California, I'm sure in Georgia, where you're at, allows you to use deadly force to save your own life when there's an imminent threat of losing it. So, yeah, someone's coming at you with a gun. Are you supposed to stand there and guess and wonder and surmise if it's loaded or a toy or a replica? No. You shoot first and ask questions later. Otherwise, you might be the first man down.
What role does it play that perhaps he had the gun illegally? He should not have had that gun in the first place. He's too young. There's some issue under the statute, but let's say it turns out he's not supposed to have the gun. Does that play any role in the determination?
Then you charge him with being in unlawful possession of a firearm. Again, from a defense standpoint, going down on a weapons charge is far better than facing life in prison for a homicide. Okay, so be it. Bring that charge. I'm sure he'll take the deal.
All right. Incredible insights. I truly appreciate that, Philip. And we'll be looking out for all that. I've said it before. This one's certainly not a slam dunk case. All right. Stand by, Philip. We're going to take a quick break. And don't forget, I want you guys